Hello, folks. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Del.
Let's listen to an album, man.
What? Oh, yeah. Should we listen to a cool one?
We can, I think.
Hey, that's a thing, man. Maybe we should do it.
In fact, let's get into like a recent decade, why don't we?
A recent decade. Not this decade, but the previous one.
The previous
before this one.
Apples and Stereos.
I think I was only 43 when this album came out. That's pretty recent.
A band from the possibly infamous, depends on who you are, Elephant Six group.
Famous, yes.
Right.
Elephant Six, out of Athens-ish, right? Athens, Georgia,
Well,
not Greece.
Yeah. Well, originally out of Ruston, Louisiana.
Right.
I mean, with the high
Yeah,
school
originally.
together. 4 guys. 4 dudes.
Yeah.
Went to high school together. And let's see, it was...
This is their
But this is...
sixth
Okay, but this
studio
isn't them.
album.
This is Apples and Stereos. This is mainly Robert Snyder. One of the first of the part of the founding members of Elephant Six, like
Elephant
we were talking
Six
about.
Collective. Yep.
But he had been together with Apples, or Apples and Stereo, as he later called it, for years, since the late 90s.
Okay.
And so... But
Yeah, this is their sixth
this is
studio
their
album.
sixth studio album. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it's a fun one, man. There's a wide variety of sounds on this album. It's an adventure, man. I mean, just look at the cover. You know, it's just like covers so much. It's like a collage. It's very like, what is it, psychedelic, and just kind of the way that the way that everything is kind of cut out with scissors, like kind of old fashioned, making collages
right,
out of. Yeah, it's got collages of all different styles of music, from punk to rock to jazz to easy listening to to like experimental to weird to pop. Yeah. So really, it's an adventure, man. It's an adventure through all sorts of musics and sounds and melodies.
right.
Yeah, it's a cool one, man.
So to say there's a band is kind of weird, because really it's Robert Snyder. Yet, he had so many people involved in it, from a lot of the Elephant Six people, including Eric Allen, who plays bass on this album, and John Hill, who plays some guitar. But really Robert Snyder does the majority of it. But I put this picture on there because if you go and look at some live videos from back then, I put some on our playlist on our channel. It's these 6 guys that are doing everything. In fact, these 6 guys kind of stuck together for additional albums afterwards.
Right.
So
Yep.
it was kind of like, this was kind of like the core group from here on, really.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I don't know, man. They look like partying kind of college guys, right? I mean, I think Athens, Georgia, University of Georgia, of course, Athens, Georgia is just like a music mecca, right?
Yep.
Pop music
Yep.
mecca, REM from there.
B-52s.
B-52s, exactly. So yeah, it's kind of like Austin, right? If you're from Texas,
right?
Austin was always kind of the music center of Texas,
right.
And Athens is a music center, kind of not just of Georgia, but that whole kind of the South, right?
Right.
And a lot of creative stuff always coming out of there.
So,
Elephant Six was just.
So the other week we almost got into an argument because we were talking about this album coming up, and you said, I said it kind of sounded like a collective of a bunch of people, and you said, well, it's really it's really Robert Snyder.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's kind of a combination, because he recorded it at 4 different places. Denver, where Apples, because I say Apples because that was the name of the band. And
Originally.
then he added in stereo into it to keep it from being confusing with other Apples things. I forget the details on that. But so it really became, it was Apples, then it was Apples in stereo. Now it's Apples in stereo.
Apples in stereo.
Right, just straight out. So
Yep.
but he has all his friends involved from, whoever was in Denver, including his drummer who was in Apples for a year forever, Hillary Sidney, who actually sings on a couple of songs on this. Yeah, ex-wife, drummer, who left the band before this album came out. But she actually was recorded on it playing drums.
Yeah, she is the drummer on this album, on the recording. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's confusing as well. In fact, I got an old picture of Apples there in Denver. There she is, second from the left. That's Hillary Sidney, and then there's the bass player is still with them, Eric Allen.
Right.
And of course, Robert there in the middle. I think it's John Hills up above.
Rhythm guitar.
And that's an older guitarist that was with him. I think it's Chris McDuffie back to him. But that has nothing to do with this album at all. But anyway, I was just showing you Hillary's picture there.
Right. And then this kind of is another indication of the kind of vibe of the whole Elephant Six collective, right? I mean, there's just it's an extended family, creative group of freaks and geniuses, man.
And he loves the Coder.
Yeah, this is the Coder full album. Can you feel it? So this song was co-written by Bill Doss. One of the turn up your stereo. I feel electric when the meter starts to blow.
Very high-pitched voice.
Turn up your stereo. When the speaker starts to blow, can you feel it? Feel the magic when the speaker starts to blow.
Yep.
I love the backing vocals on this album.
All the way through his album.
Makes you feel good. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Makes you feel so good. It reminds me of Yellow on this album. All the vocals, you know. Makes you feel so good. But this is like punk, man. I mean, it's got the raw energy of punk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much sound going on here. I mean, how many guitar tracks are going on? I can hear like 3 or 4 maybe. Turn up your stereo. Drown out the bullshit on the FM radio. Drown out the bullshit on the FM radio. Can you feel it? Yes. Can you feel it?
That's where it sounds like a room full of people.
Yeah, but they all got their parts, right? There's like 3 or 4 people singing each part, you know? Makes you feel so good.
I think it's Robert on the leads.
It's getting wacky, man.
feedback, and can you hear? That was like done in London when they played in London. They recorded the audience telling them to turn it down. It's feedback, and can you hear it? That was such a...
Yeah.
See, that's where I thought... and I didn't realize, I just read about that. I thought that was like a part of their recording bunch saying it, of their group. While they were recording, saying all that. But then I realized... Then I read they recorded an audience yelling at them to turn it down because it was feedback.
Well, I mean, it does seem like on a lot of these songs that they're just. I mean, if you look at the waveform, you see it in the visualization that it's just solid.
It's just slammed, yeah.
I mean, so. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of just like fucking cranking everything. But I mean,
if the mix is good and they can handle it, I mean, the energy is there the whole time. That's the thing about this album. It's a lot of energy. It is dynamic in a sense, but there's a lot of energy in on this thing.
There's a lot of these songs. Of course, there's 24 tracks, right? Which is freaking crazy.
Yeah, to me, there's really about 12. if it was, they could have combined. I mean, you see all the tracks laid out there, but I like how you bolded the main tracks.
Right.
So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 10,
14,
11, 12.
14.
And I would put Beautiful Machine as we get to it. I would put those. So I say there's really 12 tracks.
Say.
That they could have...
and Pre-Crimson, and Pre-Crimson really should probably not be bolded either.
Right.
So, yeah, you're right. That would be between combining Beautiful Machine and kind of dropping Pre-Crimson. So, yeah, about 12. The others are kind of transitional, kind of maybe experimental little sound collage kind of things.